Today you will start learning about how to make a box and whisker plot. There's really two parts to this. The first part is finding the 5-number summary, and you already know how to do that, but I'm going to show you and remind you what that is. And then you actually draw it would be the second part of that. We can practice these actually in 2 separate sections. So first we're going to knock out all the vocabulary and figure out exactly what a box and whisker is. A box and whisker plot displays a data set along a number line using medians. Okay, when we put those numbers in order and we mark them out to find the center. Quartiles, this is a new sentence. Remember when we were finding the IQR, the interquartile range, we cut it in half, cut it in half, cut it in half. So we called those quartiles because we were cutting them up into 4 pieces. Quartiles divide the data set into 4 equal parts. The median divides the data into 2 halves. Okay, so it's like taking anything. I've just made a weird circle, cutting it in half, and then cutting it in half again. So you cut it into 4. The first part, the median, is cutting it into half. Okay, moving on. We have our vocabulary, the lower quartile. The lower quartile is the median of the lower half. So that would be this right here. The upper quartile is the median of the upper half. That would be up here. Remember, we were calling these quartile 1, quartile 2, and quartile 3. The lower extreme would be the minimum data value. This is also known as the smallest number, if it helps you to think about it that way. And then opposite the upper extreme would be the maximum value, or the largest. Okay, let's think about our steps. First things first, you have to order your data from smallest to largest, from minimum, we're using our vocabulary, to maximum. This means smallest to largest. Remember, it's important for you to understand your own notes. Find the median of the data. Okay, that's this. Then you're going to find the lower quartile. Which is going to be your Q1, which is the median. Okay, then you do that same thing for the upper half. So then you find the upper quartile, which is the quartile 3, which is the median of the upper half. Okay. So step 5, okay, this is when you actually are putting it and drawing it. You're going to label or mark the median, quartiles, and extremes above a number line. Then you draw the box, and then you draw the whiskers. Okay, the box goes between the Q2, the Q1 to the Q3. I'll erase that because I don't want you guys to. Okay, then the whisker goes from the minimum to the Q1, and then from the Q3 to the max. And this will make sense when you see a picture of it. Okay, now this part right here, 1 through 4, that's finding the 5-number summary. Okay, Let's go ahead and go on to create one of these. So step one, I'm just going to follow the steps we went through. I'm going to put the numbers in order from smallest to largest. I see a 5, 6, 6, 7, 12, 13, 17, and 19. Step 2. It says find the median. So this is when we mark out, marking out pairs till I get to the center. Well, I'm left with 2 numbers, so I add them together. Okay, then we divide it by 2. So 19 divided by 2. Yes, I'll let you guys use calculators. I can already tell what you're thinking. So 9.5. Okay, then step 3, the lower quartile. We're finding the median of the lower quartile. So I'm taking these numbers, the lower on the left-hand side, and I'm marking out and I'm finding the center. Well, that one's easy. Okay, next step, finding the same thing with the upper quartile, 13 and 17. So we have to add. This should feel familiar. I know 30 divided by 2 is 15. Just punch it in your calculator. Okay, now that's 3 of the 5 number summary. The only other number you need to identify is the min, which is your smallest, and then the max, which is your 19. So that's 5 numbers. Minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and your maximum. 5 number summary. Now, we're going to draw this on a number line. Here's my number line. I know I need to start at 5 and go to 19. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, you can take the time to number them all. That's up to you. So our next step was to label or mark each one of these things. So I know that I'm going to have something at the 5. And just like the dot plot, I'm going to hover right above those numbers on the number line, and I'm just going to put a little mark straight across left to right where those numbers are. Then I have 6. Then I have 9.5, which is going to be halfway between 9 and 10. Then I have 15. Then I have my max of 19, which is the mark before 20. Okay, now this is where I want you to pay close attention. Where I have quartile 2 or quartile 1, this is quartile 1, okay, quartile 2 and quartile 3. See how I'm making lines? Because then I'm going to formulate a rectangle. That's the box. The whisker goes to the max and the min. Okay, that's really all there is to it. Now, the way this is structured, it tells us information about the data because we can see that the middle is kind of on the left-hand side. Our whisker on the right is longer to get to the maximum than our whisker on the left to get to the minimum. Those are important pieces of information when you're analyzing the data, okay, which is something that we'll get to. I'm going to do one more for you. First things first, we put it in order. 0, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6. We find the median, the first median. I'm marking out pairs. And I get to the center. There's 2 numbers, but they're both 4, so I know it's a 4. I'm going to go ahead and come down here and put a line on the 4. Now we find the lower median, the lower quartile. So I'm using these 4 numbers and I mark out. I have 2 3s, so I know it's going to be a 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put a line there. Remember, I'm creating the box. I take the up double 5. So this is where my box is. Median, median of the top, median of the bottom. Last thing, we find the minimum, which is 0. So I put a dot there and I draw my whisker to the box. I find my max, which is 6. I repeat that, draw a dot at 6, and a line to the box. That's all it is. So basically on your practice worksheet, I have just finding the numbers, the 5 numbers, the minimum, quartile 1, quartile 2, quartile 3, and the max, identifying those. And then when you flip it over, then you're actually drawing the box and whisker. So you can handle that whichever way you want. If you just want to practice getting the 5 number summary first, that's fine. Or you can flip-flop back and forth, creating those box and whiskers as soon as you find the data. Okay, good luck.